So I said, okay, you know, maybe a day off is justice. And maybe you can make peace because of it. And she looked at me and said, yeah. But it was a yeah like that word, whatever. You know, so I said, okay, I learned something. Because, church, that's what the rest of America feels like when we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King, if they're not having responsibility. You see, they say, it's a day off, it's a time for me to play, to rest, to mess around, because it's off from my usual. But Dr. King should be remembered not just for play, because you know he was a playful man. He liked to play. He was a very self-effacing man, church. He said, you know, I didn't really want to lead the Montgomery bus boycott. I'm new in town, and they voted me in. I don't really know what to say, you know, about what people want me to say. I don't have all of that what people want me to have, except for one thing. I'm paying attention to the people. I'm looking at what's going on around me, and I have to report what I see. So Dr. King, a very self-effacing man, knew that it was not about him. It's all about the people who you serve. He responded to the people. Now, one of the reasons why Dr. King was not a popular man during that time had to do with the fact that he moved the civil rights movement with the anti-war movement. Oh yes, that was very unpopular, church, a very unpopular thing. The President of the United States at that time, Lyndon Baines Johnson, we've heard on tape commenting on Dr. King moving in that direction. He says, what's that blankety blank 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 doing to me? And we have it on tape. We know what the blankety blank 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 is. But he called Dr. King those horrible words because he said, I gave him the Civil Rights Act. I gave him the Voting Rights Act, and now he's against the war. Look what he's doing to me. What does he want? But Dr. King was able to see that it wasn't about him. It was about what was going on out here affecting all these people. Dr. King gave a sermon April 3rd, 1967, almost a year before he was assassinated. He gave that sermon at Riverside Church in New York City. And in that sermon, he talked about silence is betrayal. Silence is betrayal. He said, look here. I'm not directly quoting him. I have it down here, but it's hard to read, so I'll just tell you what it says. He said, look here. I was talking to some youth in our ghettos, and I was telling them about nonviolence. And I was telling them the virtues of nonviolence and how that must be how they must conduct themselves. And they said, hold up, Reverend, hold up. What about Vietnam? Is that not a violent act? Is that not our country solving a problem by violence? And Dr. King said he was struck and convicted that he had to speak out against that war. Because he said, I could not go to any youth in our country and talk about being nonviolent when the biggest purveyor of violence in the world was my own government. He said, I could not do that. I could no longer be silent. Dr. King could not be silent, church, because he had responsibility. You see, he knew he had to respond. You can't keep it inside. He had to bring it out. And by doing that, he received evil responses to him. And not just from the outside, within his own cadre. Church, there were folks saying to him, Doc, no, wait, no. We can't do that because we have money supporting us over here. And if we come out on such a larger platform, they may feel like they can't give. And Doc, you know, we can't do that because, you know, we need to move on to something else. And if you got us stuck over here, we can't move, Doc. And Dr. King shook his head and said, you know, ambition, greed, self-serving things, the bitterness that comes from hearing somebody else's thoughts that are not yours, doubt, all of these things that you're doing here among my inner circle. Don't you know that you're not following where I'm going? You're not following where I'm going because where I'm going, church, is the principle of nonviolence. I'm moving past how it's going to affect me, and I'm talking about how it affects all these scores of thousands. I have to speak out against it because of those youth. I have to speak out against it because of our government. I have to speak out against it because of all the oppressed people in the world from our violence. Don't you understand that we have the racism and materialism and militarism? Those are the triplets that are causing us the anguish back home. Dr. King saw that there was money behind this militarism. Does it sound familiar, church? You see, that was Vietnam, but you know, we're involved in some stuff right now that's not right. It's not right. And it's not just about the fact it's against its violence, and we are nonviolent, but it's who is profiting from this. Who is profiting? Doc, he speaks to me when he says that you got to tell the truth. Because what happened then is happening now unless we have responsibility. Now I'm going to try to find a quote on this very large text that I have to read. And this is a quote that is from a Buddhist leader. And that Buddhist leader spoke these words. Our church is very with me here. He said that, I'm almost there. He said that it's easy to find stuff that you know you have, if it's written on your heart. The Buddhist leader was saying the Americans spend so much time calculating the military victory when the works of the political and psychological effects of their warfare is leading to defeat. You see,